إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعين به ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وكشف الغمة وجاهد في سبيل الله حق جهاده حتى أتاه اليقين ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين. أما بعد فإن أحسن الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. أما بعد, جزاكم الله خير, my dear brothers and sisters. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless this gathering and make this gathering for his sake. So today, we're going to be talking about, or we'll continue the series that we started in the past to talk about common sins and their cure. And today, we're going to be talking about a common sins that I think, this is almost applicable to everyone who lives nowadays, which is the the issue of not lowering our gaze. Brothers and sisters, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He created our bodies, He created our bodies and He know how each and every body function supposed to function and its limitation. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have given us limitation to what we do with our body. And one of the limitations that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have given us is the limitation of lowering our gaze when it comes to our sight. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He knows the benefits and He knows the harms that can be done with each and every body function. And the same thing applies to the eyes. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, أَلَا يَعْلَمُ مَنْ خَلَقَ وَهُوَ اللَّطِيفُ الْخَبِيرُ. He indeed knows His creation and He is He's aware of everything that entails with it. So therefore Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, brothers and sisters, He gave us the sight as a blessing, as a trust, so we could do the best with it. So what are some of the many people, brothers and sisters, they don't realize the harmful effects that someone can get from just looking at everything, and having no limitation to his eyesight. Okay, so believe it or not, one of the most common and negative consequences that people get from not lowering their gaze is their heart will become hardened. And subhanallah, one of the scholars, his name Al-Ala ibn Ziyad, what he said, لا تتبع بصرك رداء امرأة فإن نظر يجعل الشهوة في القلب. He said, do not follow and do not make your eyesight follow a dress of a woman. Because what? Because looking, is the way you feed the desires of your heart. And brothers and sisters, the more someone would have no restriction to his eyesight, the more he's exposing his heart to all these negative things, all these bad things, all these horrible things, and eventually, this would lead to your heart become hardened, because you're exposing your heart to all of these sins. So this is the way you destroy your faith inside of your heart, is by repeatedly exposing it. Because some people say it's just a look. We have no, what can we do? We're surrounded by this, all around us. No, brothers and sisters, even though we are in a world where nakedness almost involved in all aspects, in your phones and in your TVs, on your computer, or if you walk down the street, that does not mean khalas you give up and you surrender yourself. No, because and that's why people now, a lot of people would say nowadays, oh, my heart, I don't have any khushu'. When I read the Quran, I don't feel it. Sometimes I don't, my eyes would not tear. Why? Ask yourself, because maybe you have exposed, you have make so many things exposed to your eyes, and maybe this is the initial of the cure. Also, brothers and sisters, know, one of the easiest way the shaitan would catch you is through your eyesight, because this is something that you're always opening your eyes, you're always looking, and if you're not looking at the TV, or you're looking at your screens right now, you're looking at something else. You know, Imam al-Qurtubi, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be pleased with him, he said, "Al-basar huwa al-bab al-akbar ila al-qalb." That eyesight, it is the biggest highway toward your heart. You know, وأعمر طرق الحواس إليه. يعني this is the most way, one of the most ways your heart يعني have sensation to the outside world. ويحسب ذلك كثرة السقوط من جهته ووجب التحذير منه. يعني because of that you have to be watchful. You have to be mostly watchful of what? Of your eyesight, because you are, يعني whatever you are seeing, you are feeding your heart with it. Whatever you're seeing is you feel. And so if someone is always looking at nakedness, always looking at women, always looking at haram things, that does not mean يعني that does not mean that it means that you are feeding your heart with negative things. And it's also important, brothers and sisters, to pinpoint one thing. Just like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have warned the believers to lower their gaze, قل للمؤمنين يغضوا من أبصارهم ويحفظوا فروجهم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also said to the believing woman, وقل للمؤمنات يغضضن من أبصارهن ويحفظن فروجهن. Yes, men have to be careful more than women when it comes to this. Because we have a stronger, we're affected most easily when it comes to the opposite gender, men. But that does not mean that women have the right to look at any man and khalas. No, women have less of a reaction when it compared to men. Less, and some women have the same. But overall, generally speaking, women have less than men when it comes to these things. They're less reactive. But that does not mean that she have no restriction when it comes to looking at men. No, she have to lower her gaze too, because sometimes we see a woman telling her husband, "Oh, lower your gaze." Oh, you should lower your gaze too. It's not lowering your gaze. It's not just made for men only. It's made for men and women. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَقُلْ لِلْمُؤْمِنَاتِ يَغْضُضْنَ مِنْ أَبْصَارِهِنَّ وَيَحْفَظْنَ فُرُوجَهُنَّ. So also tell the believing women that they should lower their gaze. So meaning, the brothers, this is something that it's an order by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for both genders. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mentioned men first, before women, because men are more likely to do it. They're more susceptible to doing it. So this is something that we have to think about, brothers and sisters. Okay. Also, understand that sometimes, brothers and sisters, one look can destroy you. Come on, man, you're exaggerating this. Yes, one look can destroy you. How many times, brothers and sisters, someone, because he looked at a woman once, and maybe he'd be literal, he made him, he went through the highways of haram, and he was hooked into this woman, and he left his family, and he left his wife, and he chased after this woman, and possibly he committed zina. And subhanAllah, so this happened. And not only that, brothers and sisters, Abu Darda, not only in this dunya, but also in the hereafter. Abu Darda, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one of the Sahaba, he said, من غض بصره عن النظر الحرام زوج من حور العين. Whoever lowered his gaze from looking at the haram, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as a reward, would make him marry the حور العين. The women in Jannah. So, brothers and sisters, this is something that we have to understand. Whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have outlawed for you in this dunya, as a reward you will get it in the hereafter. من لبس الحرير في الدنيا لم يلبسه في الآخرة. As one of the hadith says, that whoever wear the silk in this dunya, he's not going to wear it in the hereafter. ومن شرب خمر الدنيا لم يشربه في الآخرة. And whoever drank the wine of this dunya, of this world, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should not make him drink it in the hereafter. ومن شرب من آنية الذهب والفضة, whoever drink out of pots made out of gold and silver in this dunya, in this world, he shall not he shall not drink it in the hereafter. So, brothers and sisters, understand that this can be as a consequence that you should be affected with it in this dunya and the hereafter. So also understand that disaster is effective. Not just don't say only one look, because you don't know what's going to happen. No one can trust themselves after what happened to them if they expose themselves to this look. And also, like I said, number 4, the easiest way to get to zina, which is considered an adultery, which is one of the big sins, is how? Is through looking. And looking is considered to be a form of zina. Really? Yes. And Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Wal-aynani zinahuma an-nazar." The eyes, how do they commit zina? Is by looking. وَالْإِذُنَانِ زِنَاهُمَا الْإِسْتِمَاعِ. And eyes, how can ears commit also adultery? Yes, by listening. And the hand can commit zina? Yes, by touching. So brothers and sisters, you understand this. This is something that is not light. Okay? So this is something we have to think about. This one of the doorways to the actual zina, fornication, is what? Is put through looking. Okay? Also, number 5, many people, brothers and sisters, tend to belittle the small sins. And sometimes these small sins can be bigger than, can accumulate to be bigger than the big sin. Ibn Taymiyyah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be pleased with what he said, دوام النظر بالشهوة وما يتصل به من العشق والمعاشرة والمباشرة قد يكون أعظم بكثير من فساد الزنا. He said sometimes when someone look and keep looking and with this looking he's attached and he became in love and it destroyed his life. Sometimes that could be worse than the actual zina. Like for instance, think about it. If someone, for instance, committed zina once, which is haram and is considered a big sin, and he made tawbah, okay, may Allah, inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would forgive him. But like, let's say someone is doing this every day, every year, every week, and so this can be worse than actual zina. Yes, especially when someone is addicted. Okay, so that's number 5. Number 6, this is one of the prime reasons why people lose khushu' during salah. Yes, subhanallah. As they say, من ترك فضول النظر وفق للخشوع. Whoever left looking at things that is going to lead him to haram, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to bless him with what? Tranquility during prayer. So brothers, it is important that you control your eyesight. And that's why you always see the believing men and women, when they talk with their eyes in the ground. That's one of their signs. It's not the one who just look at you and they want to inspect, how many pimples you have in your face, and they could count how many hairs in your face. No, that's not the sign of a believer, and that's part of the shyness and the haya that the man and woman should have. Okay. So brothers and sisters, this is something, and not only that, Ibn al-Qayyim, he said the poisonous after effect of zina. He said, Ibn al-Qayyim said, إطلاق النظر ينقش في القلب صورة منظورة إليه. When someone continue to look, like as is someone reshaping one's heart. Like when someone, for instance, he gave the example of a naqsh. When someone is trying, like hammering a rock. When you're shaping and hammering a rock, what do? You try to make a picture or an image within the rock. The same thing. The same thing when it comes to what? Looking. And looking at something haram is as if you're shaping that shape inside of your heart. And it's not easy. Brothers and sisters, it's not easy. So, brothers and sisters, it's important for us to think about these things, And the last thing is, the last thing that we need to think about is how many times homes were destroyed because of one look. A man, possibly, or a son, or a daughter. Maybe they have a beautiful family. And because of one look, that led to a relationship that possibly made them kicked out of their house, and possibly someone divorced his wife, or a wife divorced her husband, because and homes were destroyed because of a look, because of relationship. So this is nothing easy, brothers and sisters. Be aware of that. So now let's get into how can I control my eyesight? What is the cure? What is the cure? So I'm going to, bidnillah ta'ala, give you a few cures, bidnillah ta'ala. I'm going to give you almost about I would say about 9 to 10 cures. Number one cure is what? Is look away. As soon as you know and you recognize what you're in front of you, look away. And that's why it's always good to look down on the ground. The Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, when he was instructing the Sahaba, he said, Usruf basarak. Look away. Look away. As soon as you are, this is always, again, brother and sister, and this is also an important advice, a side note to the guys. Just like because you are looking at animation that is for a woman half naked, that does not make it appropriate. Same thing when you are looking at animation of a woman who is half naked, it's also haram. It's also haram. So you have to look away. And Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, إذا رقيت امرأة فاغمض عينيك حتى تمضي. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if you saw a woman passing, close your eyes until she passes away. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said he instructs the believing men and believing women. قل للمؤمنين يغضوا من أبصارهم ويحفظوا فروجهم ذلك أزكى لهم. Say to the believing women to what? That they would lower their gaze. Okay. So number one is look away. Number two is don't put yourself in a situation that is going to lead to that. If I know that there is a mixed gathering, a beautiful woman, a movie that have haram things, a screenshot, a picture, a place that have these things all over, why I'm going to put myself in a situation? There is no, at this point, there is no you cannot not lower your gaze. You have to remove yourself from that environment. So so if you know, for instance, you're going to be watching something or being around people or being in a place and there is so much intermingling, a wedding, a mixed gathering, don't put yourself in a situation. Oh, I cannot lower my gaze. Oh, of course you cannot lower your gaze because you are in front of 20 or 30 women. If you remove your eyes from this direction, you're going to look at another woman in another direction. So it's important, brothers and sisters, to keep that in mind. So don't put yourself in a situation where you cannot lower your gaze. Okay. Third, okay, and know that the easiest way to gain Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's love is through your lower your gaze. One of the tabi'in, his name Hasan al-Mujahid, he said, غض البصر عن المحارم الله يورث حب الله. When you lower your gaze from the haram things, it eventually you're gaining the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because you are always cautious that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is looking at you. And that's why you're lowering your gaze. Imam al-Sa'di, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala please what he said, من ترك ما تهواه نفسه من شهوات الله تعالى, whoever left his desires for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, عوضه الله من محبته وعبادته والأنابة إليه ما يوفق لذات الدنيا كلها. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would give him, he would reward him with his love and loving his worship and etc. So brothers, this is if you want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to love you, lower your gaze. Always lower your gaze. Number 4, if you fall into it, even if you saw something, seek tawbah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala immediately. Because if you delay, you say, oh, it's little, something small. No, seek tawbah and make it serious. Hold yourself accountable. If you do something bad, haram, hold yourself accountable. Say, I have done something wrong. And immediately seek forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number 5, if this happened to you, think of what? The consequences that we talked about. Prophet Muhammad said in the hadith, إن الشيطان قد أيأس من أن يعبد بأرضكم هذه. إذا شيطان, the meaning of the hadith, the shaitan have given up from given up on Muslims to worship idols. So it's you're not gonna. It's very difficult to see a Muslim worshiping idols. But what happened? He make us fall into small sins. ولكنه قد رضي منكم ما تحقرون. But he make you fall into small sins. This is small lie, this is small look, things. But what happened when you belittle so many things and they become accumulated, they become big things. So it's important that you don't look at how small they are. Look at who you are committing the sins against. Okay. So again, subhanallah, يعني it's and part of the aftermath, you feel bad. You feel bad for the time that you have wasted. Sometimes people spend money for this. How much time you have wasted, how much يعني how much now, because when someone is indulged in this, people would lose respect for him, you know, and he would not he would feel sad and he will feel depressed, you know, and sometimes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala might take away provision away from him. So brothers and sisters, and it's important for us to think about these consequences, and they should be warning us not to commit this sin. Okay. Number 6, don't be alone. يعني Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "نهى عن الوحدة في أن يبيت الرجل وحده أو يسافر وحده." Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam sometimes he told us it's he forbidden a man to live by to sleep in a house by himself, or he would travel by himself. Why? Because the more you're alone, the more likely you're going to be attacked by the shaitan. And by shayateen ins and jinn, yani also human beings, you know. But when you're alone with a righteous brother, a righteous sister, what happened? You end up reminding each other, this is haram, fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and etc. You know, the shaitan will be less likely to catch you. Number 7, um, always watch your thoughts and your ideas. If you start thinking about these things, or thinking about, or having imagination, stop it. Say astaghfirullah al-azim. And fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because you know this is how things start. You know, one of the Salihin, he said, "Man raqab Allah fi khawatirih, asamahu Allah fi harakati jawarihih." Whoever was watching Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if what he thinks, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will protect his senses. And that's the way thing, and this is 100% correct. If you watch the way you're thinking, of course you're not gonna commit sins with your senses, with your hands, and with your legs, and with your tongue, and etc. Because you have prevented it from becoming an idea. Okay, so that's something important that we have to think about. Okay, and so this is some of the things, brothers, that we could utilize. You could utilize to protect us from this sin, bi'idhnillah ta'ala. I hope this has become helpful, and I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect all of you, and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide all of you. Jazakum Allah khair. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.